What's happening, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be taking you through a workout. You're going to train with me down here at Marchon Stratford. I'm on the Marchon train program. I often get asked which program is right for individuals online. We've got a number of different programs from gain through to compete, and that's basically functional bodybuilding through to functional fitness and then CrossFit. And it depends really on your goals, your training age, and what you're looking to do and get from your training. For me, I'm looking to stay really fit, really active, improve my conditioning so that I feel good about everyday life, chasing the kids, throwing myself into recreational events at weekends, and then also getting on the mats with jiu-jitsu. So the train program helps me build strength, it helps me build my fitness, helps me move well, and it helps me look as good as possible at the same time. So today's session is going to be biased a little bit on upper body, but at the moment in our training split in this 12-week block, we've essentially got 3 full body workouts and 2 conditioning days, and then 1 skill day. Today is going to be predominantly bench press and upper body, but like I said, there's going to be a little bit of lower body too, and then we're going to finish with a little bit of breathing and carrying our conditioning piece. So come along with me for the workout. I'll try and give you some context, dive into a bit of detail about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. Hopefully you see some value in this. Let's go. You see this? So what's really cool about the Marchon app is obviously we've got our days across the top. I'm on Wednesday. Every day comes with a coach's corner video. So you simply open the video.
Hey team, into our Wednesday session. So this is probably going to be our barbell bench press day. It's a little bit heavier on.
Enough of that. So today we've got Chad, who is the coach and the head programmer on the train program, talking us through today's day, just setting out the intentions, any kind of new movements and things that he wants to see us paying attention to. He'll map that out in the coach's video. And then we've got an overview of the workout. So of course we start with a warm-up. To begin with, we've got 3 minutes of a nasal only ski and then 3 rounds of a single arm dumbbell bench press, 6 bottoms up kettlebell press, some plyo push-ups and some band pull-aparts, essentially getting the upper body primed and ready for what's about to come. We then got our bench press, main body of work, some accessory work as RDLs and pull-ups, and then we've got some overhead press, some seated incline curls, love a bit of guns, and then we're finishing with some ski and carrying. So that's our overview, and then essentially we just click start workout, get into the workout, and we're going to start with our warm-up. So over to the ski erg, 3 minutes, nasal only, which means only breathing through your nose. This is going to regulate heart rate a little bit. It's going to bring our intention into the room, so we're now into the workout, and it's going to get us a little bit warmer. So today's main body of work is bench press, or predominantly upper body, like I've said. So in the warm-up, it's important we start to prime and prep shoulders and just get everything kind of switched on and ready to go. Starting with the single arm dumbbell bench. We always want to prioritize full range, nice and controlled. Six on one side. Bottoms up kettlebell press. So those unilateral exercises or single side exercises are really good for you to see any kind of compensations or imbalances between left and right side. For me, sort of old rugby injuries, torn labrum in my shoulder, I really struggle, particularly overhead with my left arm, lots of stability issues. So exercises like that are brilliant, just to protect me when we get into the main work on the bench press, when we're going heavy, so that both shoulders are kind of really warm and know what's to be expected. So next up, some plyo push-ups. I'm a big fan of doing, in your training session each day, something nice and fast and explosive. Doesn't need to be much, it's obviously quite taxing, but something fast in your session is really good. It's a good quality to keep training and keep within your training. And then we've got 12 band pull-aparts, rib cage down. Position your hands where you need to so there's enough tension. Try not to let your shoulders kick up towards your ears. And we hit 3 rounds of that. I'll see you at bench press shortly. So warm up done. Now just a quick thing on warm ups. I know most people don't really see their utility and they often blitz past them without giving them much attention. But for me, it's really important, particularly if you're thinking about wanting to train for years and years and years. Those warm-ups, one, they really compound over time to give you more volume in your training, more quality volume in your training, and intensity where you're really present and understanding how your body's moving. And two, they really do decrease the risk of injury, which is obviously very important, particularly as you get stronger, as you put your body in vulnerable positions. Some of those weights become potentially a bit more dangerous and the risk of injury increases. So warm-ups are really important. Make sure you pay attention to those as best as possible. So one thing we prioritize, particularly on our sort of gain and train program, is fundamental compound movements to build the program around. So they provide us with KPIs. There are key performance indicators that we'll test and retest at the start and the finish of each block so that we know we're actually progressing as it relates to our strength and or our fitness. So in this current training block, on Monday, a squat is our KPI. On Wednesday, our bench press is our KPI. And then on Friday, our deadlift is our KPI. We're still going to put things like pull-ups and vertical pushes within the program, but those 3 exercises are going to be the things that we're going to test come the end of testing week. So it's a priority for us. That means it goes at the start of the session. Today I've got 8 sets of 5 reps with 60-second rest in between. So they're kind of hypertrophy clusters, which means there's quite a lot of volume in a fairly short amount of time, and it's at quite a high intensity. So hopefully stimulating some muscle building properties within the chest. Do a couple of warm-up sets, and then we'll get into our working sets, which are going to be around 70% of 1RM. So I know my 1RM from previous training. I'm going to calculate 70% of that, and that's going to be the weight that I'm going to try and work out for the 8 sets of 5 and my working sets. So to begin with, just a warm-up set. You should all be familiar with your bench press position. Make sure we're always working through full range, nice and controlled in our tempos. Now obviously our warm-up sets shouldn't be too taxing. They shouldn't really take anything away from our working sets. I'm just going to do a couple of these, increasing weights. So one set of 60, a set of 80, and then I'm going to work out my 70% of 1RM. If you don't know your 1RM, that's also fine. We can work to like an RPE, so a rate of perceived exertion. So if we take that 70%, we're looking at like a 7 out of 10. So whatever weight you're working at, you should be able to potentially hit another 3 reps above and beyond that if you were to max out, all right? So that gives you an idea of what you should be working at if you don't know your percentages or your 1RMs. So, quite warm now. Obviously repping Team 247. If you know, you know. If you don't know, stop hiding under a rock. So, quick calculation. My 1RM is around 145. So if I minus 30%, so I'm going to hit 8 sets of 5 at 101.5 kilos. So I'm going to do 100 kilos. That's going to be good for me. So 8 sets, 5 reps at 70%, which I've worked out as 100 kilos. And we're going to take 60 seconds rest in between each one of those 5 reps. Okay, so these are hypertrophy clusters. I'll start my timer as soon as I sit up after my 5 reps. It's going to get quite tough. This is 40 reps at 100 kilos. Not much for some, but quite a bit for others. What's quite interesting is there wasn't much bench press in the last block of 12 weeks. Our KPI there was pull-ups, which is fine, right? You can't really increase everything all at the same time. That's not possible, particularly if you don't have hours and hours to train each day, so you need to set some priorities. Bench press wasn't one of them last time round. So I'm probably gonna have maybe lost a little bit of strength and efficiency just because of motor control and just doing the actual exercise, but it is what it is. Now we're at week 1 of this new training block. For the next 12 weeks, we'll be prioritizing bench, and then we can bring that up a little bit. So 2 sets in, 6 more to go. I don't remember 100 kilos being quite this heavy, but like I said, I'm a little bit detrained from this movement. Another 15 seconds and we're back in. Right, here and spot a rogue Patrick Henry Arthur James in the background. He's giving this weekend's Turf Games engine a little crack. So I think it's some bike, some running, some skiing, some running, some rowing and some skiing. So if you see a very pale man in the background, his name is Patrick Henry Arthur James, AKA Paddy Boy. Hey, 5 down, 3 to go, baby. So, like I said, hypertrophy cluster sets. What it essentially allows you to achieve is a decent amount of volume in a slightly reduced period of time, but working at a slightly higher intensity than if you're taking, or if you're trying to hit higher rep sets with longer rest, all right? So a really good way to increase volume at a higher intensity in a shortened period of time, which is of course really important for the muscle building that we try and do on the program. Most of our programs are built around trying to develop strength, absolute strength, obviously muscle mass, and then your aerobic fitness, which is why we use a strapline, train everything, ready for anything, because we build physiques that look great, that move well, and that can compete in any competition really. And as the programs progress, the skill level increases all the way up to compete for those of you that are into CrossFit. 3 seconds, this is set 6. He may be really pale, but he's very fit. What he doesn't have in skin pigmentation, he has in aerobic capacity. Nice pads. So one really obviously great thing about the app is here we're on the bench press. Obviously got what we've intended for the day. There's a video that can show you what we're looking for as well, which is really cool for those of you that aren't familiar with the exercise. And then here, you're gonna input your weight. So I've obviously hit 100 kilos consistently, and we put a tick next to it. And what this basically allows us to do is track not just what we've lifted this week, but we've also got a history tab here. So next week, when we get to bench press, I can click on history and it'll remind me what I did this week, which is just really good to be able to know where you need to go to. And then there's also a leaderboard. So some people that are joining the program today, I obviously was on it last week, they'll be doing their 5 RM today. So they can hit in their 5 RM. Let's just say I put in mine at 130, for example. It's probably a bit punchy that, but I can go to the leaderboard and we can see everyone's scores. And this is everyone on the program. So I assure you, there are thousands of people currently across the Marchon programs. So you get a chance to not only connect with the thousands of people, but you can see how you fare with some of the fitness community worldwide. Anywho, that was longer than 60 seconds. Final piece on that then. So obviously we're training. When we're training, we want perfect practice. So you may have seen every set should have been fairly consistent, where I'm placing my hands where the bar's finishing, both on the eccentric on the way down and on the concentric on the way up. We're just looking for consistency, perfect reps to train the body so that it becomes second nature. All right, that's really important in your training journey. The other big important thing on your training journey is that you always put your fucking weights away, particularly when you come to gyms like this. So I'm gonna strip the bar, and then we're going to get into part B of the session. Okay, so heading into part B, we've got 3 rounds, or 3 sets of 6 to 8 dumbbell RDLs, and then 6 to 8 pull-ups. So I'm going to make my pull-ups weighted, just done a quick warm-up set. As I said, there is an element of full body in each of our sessions at the moment on the train program, just so we can get adequate dose throughout the week with every major muscle group and also our main movement patterns, all right? So whilst it's predominantly upper body, there is going to be some hinging today, which is absolutely fine. Legs are feeling good after Monday's lower body session. So starting with 40 kicks, feet just outside shoulder, well, just shoulder width apart, underneath the hips, soft knees, big hinge. So hopefully you saw dumbbell path nice and straight, close to the body, and the hips moving out the way in that hinge pattern, so loading up posterior chain, hamstrings and glutes. So the only sort of slight thing I'm thinking about with this is that the dumbbell RDL is obviously quite grip intensive, holding the dumbbells fairly heavy, therefore going into pull-ups, it's just something to be aware of. Managed 8, I'll take that. It's about right, I think, for the weights, for the 3 working sets. I'll probably go a little bit heavier on these dumbbells. The ask is obviously, when you guys are training, wherever you're training, ideally have a training partner or a coach. But if you don't, which invariably not many of us do all the time, it's just to make sure that you are actually pushing yourself. We don't want to be flogging ourselves so we're crawling out of the gym, but we do need to push ourselves. And I like to use auto-regulation. So obviously, I personally have a lot of stresses, I'm sure you guys do. Family, kids, work, training, all those things. So it's important just to check in with yourself at the start of the session. How are you feeling? Is it a session where you can put the hammer down, or do you need to peel back anywhere? Today I feel pretty good, so I'm gonna make sure that I'm pushing myself. It's also really nice for the ego to lift the heaviest weights in the gym and complete the stack. But what it does mean is that I need to spend some money and buy some heavy dumbbells soon. So same thing, dumbbells nice and close, up to the hips. So, you might have some people prefer to use straps with that, which is, I can see the argument for it. Essentially, we don't want our grip to be the limiting factor when we're trying to train our hinge. So if you could go heavier, but using straps, it's probably beneficial, so you can load your hamstrings and glutes a little bit more. For me, obviously trying to get into jiu-jitsu and do more of it, grip's really important. So I quite like the fact I'm constantly testing my grip and training that to be a little bit stronger. I guess the take home there is just to understand what you're training for so that you can apply the right methods to get stronger and get fitter. And if you're unsure, you know where to find us. We'll also always be ready and willing to answer any questions. Again, for this auto regulation, take as much rest as you need to within reason. We are trying to, there's 2 different exercises, so I want to make sure I get quality there and I get quality here. I don't want one to suffer at the expense of the other because I'm trying to rush. So I'm going to let heart rate calm down, just grip these off a little bit, and then back in. Squeezing them out now.
Assalamu alaikum.
You got to say for yourself.
Running's hard.
Mr. Gain himself.
Yeah.
Hui. Fucking hell. Full transparency, I only went that heavy because it's on YouTube. It's very easy to see stuff on YouTube, Instagram, social media, and I've said this before, like not have full context on the individual, who they are, the type of life they lead, their training history, all sorts. So if you are kind of new getting started to this, I wouldn't really worry or concern yourself about the end goal or what weights you're lifting. It's just about actually getting in the gym and consistently going in the gym. And like I said, like go through those steps of a workout, right? So a good warm-up, like some key strength indicators so that you can show and prove that your training is working. I like then some accessory work, which is what we're doing now. That kind of builds an all-round physique. It makes sure that you can move in multiple different ways and the body's kind of efficient. And then we finish ordinarily with a little bit of capacity work on some days, and other days it's more of a metabolic pump finisher, so like more weight training. But the keys being just like prioritize getting in the gym, being really consistent. When you're there, be intentional, focus on your technique, don't get caught up in what's going on around you, run your own race, and put in the hours, right? Like I'm 35 this year, I started lifting weights at 15, so 20 years of lifting weights. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but I promise you that's the story. So rest periods have got slightly longer as we've gone through these 3 sets, just more so because of my grip. It's fatiguing quite a bit now, but I want to make sure I still try and get the quality reps out here. So that little bit of rest hopefully has helped. So I've hit 6 with the weight. I'm gonna get rid of it and get my 8. Nice. So, next part is going to be another 2 exercises. So, when we're working like this, one exercise into the other, it's called a superset for those of you that aren't familiar. Basically, one exercise into another. The warm-up's probably making sense now, right? So we did the heart raiser on the ski, then we did a single arm dumbbell press to prime our chest for bench press. With the kettlebell bottoms up press. As you can see now, we're going into a barbell seated overhead press. With the explosive press ups again, primed us for bench press, then we did the band pull aparts, getting the back ready. We had some pull ups today. So you can see how the warm up feeds into what we do in the main session. Usually what we do from a programming standpoint is we'd write the main session, because that's obviously what we're trying to improve from a strength and fitness perspective, and then we would retrospectively then write the warm up, so that the warm up is congruent with the work we're going to do. And as you can see from this session, we've kind of got every major muscle and movement pattern boxed off as it relates to the upper body, and we're throwing in some hinging as well. So that gives us a really nice full body training program over the week where all major muscles movements are being hit. It's really nice and well balanced. It doesn't create too much soreness around any particular body part, so we always feel kind of ready to be able to train, and we incrementally increase that over the next 12 weeks progressively. So this one's going to be a barbell seated overhead press, rib cage and pelvis stacked over each other. There's no use of momentum in the legs, which is quite nice. It's very strict upper body strength. And then we're into some seated dumbbell curls. So I'm just going to go seated dual dumbbell curl for 10. And again, this is for everyone that's kind of concerned with how you can look really good but still be kind of functionally fit. There's no harm in putting in some bodybuilding type exercises, plenty of arm training towards the back end of your session so that you can pump your muscles up, bring up areas that need some work. So you can do it all at the same time. It's just a little bit more constructive and conducive with, like I said, looking good but moving well and actually being able to use your body in sport or in competitions, in events, etc. So again, same as last time, hit that first set, felt quite comfortable, putting a little bit more weight on the bar. Take adequate rest. This isn't as fatiguing as, say, the hinging and the pull-ups. Smaller muscle groups, therefore I feel as I can go a little bit quicker. One thing I hope you've seen throughout the session is just there's just a deliberate intention to try and work through full range, to try and work with controlled tempos, and to really understand where the weight is in relation to my body so that I'm kind of connected to what's going on, not kind of just throwing weight around for the sake of it. I think that's really important from, again, a longevity perspective, but injury prevention, and also keeping adequate tension on the muscles so that there is a stimulus to force some growth. So, next part is going to be another 2 exercises. So, when we're working like this, one exercise into the other, it's called a superset for those of you that aren't familiar. Basically, one exercise into another. The warm-up's probably making sense now, right? So we did the heart raiser on the ski, then we did a single arm dumbbell press to prime our chest for bench press. With the kettlebell bottoms up press,
As you can see now, we're going into a barbell seated overhead press with the explosive press ups again. Primed us for bench press, then we did the band pull aparts, getting the back ready. We had some pull ups today. So you can see how the warm up feeds into what we do in the main session. Usually what we do from a programming standpoint is we'd write the main session, because that's obviously what we're trying to improve from a strength and fitness perspective. And then we would retrospectively then write the warm up, so that the warm up is congruent with the work we're going to do. And as you can see from this session, we've kind of got every major muscle and movement pattern boxed off as it relates to the upper body, and we've thrown in some hinging as well. So that gives us a really nice full body training program over the week where all major muscles movements are being hit. It's really nice and well balanced. It doesn't create too much soreness around any particular body part, so we always feel kind of ready to be able to train, and we incrementally increase that over the next 12 weeks progressively. So this one's going to be a barbell seated overhead press, rib cage and pelvis stacked over each other. There's no use of momentum in the legs, which is quite nice. It's very strict upper body strength. And then we're into some seated dumbbell curls. So I'm just going to go seated dual dumbbell curl for 10. And again, this is for everyone that's kind of concerned with how you can look really good but still be kind of functionally fit. There's no harm in putting in some bodybuilding type exercises, plenty of arm training towards the back end of your session so that you can pump your muscles up, bring up areas that need some work. So you can do it all at the same time. It's just a little bit more constructive and conducive with, like I said, looking good but moving well and actually being able to use your body in sport or in competitions, in events, etc. So again, same as last time, hit that first set, felt quite comfortable, putting a little bit more weight on the bar. Take adequate rest. This isn't as fatiguing as, say, the hinging and the pull-ups, smaller muscle groups. Therefore, I feel as I can go a little bit quicker. One thing I hope you've seen throughout the session is just just a deliberate intention to try and work through full range, to try and work with controlled tempos, and to really understand where the weight is in relation to my body so that I'm kind of connected to what's going on, not kind of just throwing weight around for the sake of it. I think that's really important from, again, a longevity perspective, but injury prevention, and also keeping adequate tension on the muscles so that there is a stimulus to force some growth. Wouldn't be a training session without taking my top off, would it? Oi, oi, oi. So, bulk of the weight session done. We're now moving to our capacity piece. So a lot of people get confused, I guess, with functional fitness and how they can piece together aerobic work, so conditioning or cardio work with your strength training. It's really important to understand a few things. One, how skillful you are and the skills that you might put into your training program or your program design. Two, how fit you are. And three, most importantly, what you're looking to achieve. So on some of our sessions, we'll put in a bit of aerobic work towards the end. On the train program, we don't want to add too many skills in alongside the aerobic work because the skills just break down and they look fucking ugly, which is no good for anyone. So here, it's a simple piece. We're going to go every 3 minutes on the minute. So minute 0, minute 3, minute 6, minute 9, minute 12. It's going to be 15 minutes long, so effectively 5 rounds. And within each 3 minutes, I'm going to do 500 meters on the ski erg, and then the remaining time I'm going to do max distance farmer's carry with a 32 kilo in each hand. So I'm basically pairing together some breathing on the ski erg and some carrying, which is going to train my grip and also trunk strength as well. So a really good way to pair together 2 exercises that complement the strength work we just done and then complement me building some aerobic fitness without just throwing shit at the wall and hoping that it sticks. Okay, so really good for a number of reasons. Improve body composition, build aerobic capacity, cardiovascular health, and improve my grip strength, upper body strength with the carries, which are really good for things like the pull-ups and anything where grip is involved. So I'm going to set a timer. We're going to go every 3 minutes for 15 minutes. What's really important is that you pace yourself because it's 5 rounds. Don't go out like a bat out of hell and then die towards the end. It's about consistency and pacing. So setting the timer, starts in 42 minutes. Here we go. You can tell I'm trying to be consistent with my pacing, not really elevate my heart rate too quickly or too fast or too high, because I'm working consistently for 15 minutes. So, session done. A little finishing piece, ending me up in zone 4, so heart rate up to around 160, but consistent rounds. So the skis were kind of 1 minute 50 and then give me 1 minute 10 to do the farmer's carry. On the farmer's carry I wasn't so concerned about trying to move fast, just keeping everything engaged, and again, like I said, consistency through the round. So that's today's training session. Wrapped up inside 60 minutes, and I probably could have gone a bit faster. Obviously recording this YouTube, so a bit longer breaks, talking to camera. I started my watch as I started timing the bench press clusters. So I suppose you can allow 10 minutes for the warm up as well. So sort of 60, 65 minutes for the full session. Now, to give you context, yesterday I trained a little bit more. I did some bodybuilding in the morning. I did the assault bike intervals. Sort of lunchtime, I did some jiu-jitsu in the afternoon. So that was a big training day for me. That's not ordinary. Usual training day, something like today, 60 to 75 minutes in the gym, and then I'll average somewhere around 15,000 steps. So today, we're obviously at Marchon Stratford, so there's a bit more traveling involved. So I'll get around 10,000 steps in a 60-minute workout, but for me, that's cool. I'll make up for it later in the week. And remember, it's the full week and 4 weeks of the month. over time that really count. So long as you're ticking those boxes each week, that's the most important thing. Don't get too caught up in each session. So yeah, that's the session, taking you through that. I'll now take you through, well, I'm gonna have a shower. I won't take you through how I shower. That's not gonna be very entertaining. Well, I suppose it might be for some. And then I'm gonna show you what I do post-session, particularly here at Marchon Stratford, where we've got the cafe. Gonna get some Marchon sups down us, and then we're gonna wrap up the video. So yeah, thank you for joining me in the gym. I'll see you in the coffee shop. So, post-training. Now again, full transparency. I won't always have a shake after training. Ordinarily, I think everyone should try and consume their calories, their protein from whole foods. And that's certainly what I try and do. But there are obviously occasions when supplementation becomes a little bit more convenient, more palatable, and it tastes fucking great. It's just a really easy way to make sure that you're hitting your protein target, which I'll be honest, for most people that we work with, both in our gyms and online, most people are going to be consuming insufficient amounts of protein. They could all do with taking creatine. They could all do with taking a hydration formula. So they're the reason why I push the hydration, the creatine and this so much, is because I genuinely believe for most people that I talk to, it's just going to be a massive game changer for complementing their training. So, like I said, protein shakes aren't the be all and end all. They're not the magic that some people profess them to be, but they are very convenient. And here I've got 1.5 scoops, so I've got just over sort of 35 grams of protein, which for you nerds out there will help stimulate muscle protein synthesis. Important, you know, throughout the day for the muscle building properties. Not necessarily uber important 15 minutes after working out, but as and when you can get the protein in, make sure you're prioritizing a good dose of protein post-session. I'm going to have this with my Simmer Eats pancakes as well, which have got kind of carbs, fats and protein as well. So it's going to be a fairly well-balanced meal, high in protein and around 400 or 500 calories to fuel the gains that I've hopefully just made. So just on the note of whole foods, I've actually got some chicken in there from last night's dinner. So the reason I'm not eating that right now is because after training, I don't quite feel like eating savoury food like chicken, but I am quite hungry, so the protein shake and the pancakes are perfect. Like I said, 400 or 500 calories, about 40 grams plus now of protein by the time I factor in those pancakes, and it tastes banging. And that's the main thing. Make sure you're enjoying your food and make sure it's functioning for what you are trying to achieve with your goals, be it body composition, building strength, etc. Those of you that are looking for convenient meals, I use Simmer Eats. I do have a discount code. It's OM25. And again, in case anybody was wondering, it's not really about me getting paid to do any of this stuff. I just genuinely eat this stuff every day. It's convenient, it tastes good. The guys behind it are really good lads. And like I said, anything you see on any of our channels at Marchon, like, it's all because we genuinely believe in the other company. If it's another company, if it's our company, it's because, of course, we've created it, and we can guarantee the quality of those products and their efficacy, particularly as it relates to supplements. Anyone that I work with that's external, and there's not many of them, the likes of Pure Sport, Simmer, Nocco, it's because I use their products every day and they help me with what I do in my life with training, recovering, fueling. Genuinely, the best tasting protein in the world. I need to Instagram it. Behind the scenes. That concludes today's YouTube. You've trained with me on the Marchon Train program. It's been a midweek session. Probably do this again next week, so I think you're probably going to find some value in this. If you have enjoyed the episode, give me some comments below. Tell me what you'd like to see more of as it relates to training. I don't do much coaching these days, but I'm more than willing to use my channel to help you guys have a better experience with your training and ultimately get the results that you deserve for putting in your hard work. So, comment below. I hope you've enjoyed it. Peace and love until next time.